Good morning and welcome to the show. My name is Sean Smith.
And my name is Prescott Phillips, and this is Brew City Bug Talk.
Hello and welcome back to the show. How's it going there today, Prescott?
It's a hot one today.
It is a hot one. And we got a special show for you guys today because we are at the VW Collective of Milwaukee, which is a awesome car show in the Milwaukee area.
Yep.
They are having their annual picnic.
Yep, it's we're live at their event. It's a beautiful Saturday here in Wisconsin. It's like 112 degrees.
I was going to say, yeah, it's only 100 degrees out, so no worries.
And they put on a great picnic here for us to record our podcast at and enjoy some food and some camaraderie with other Volkswagen enthusiasts.
Yeah, I'd say, how many cars do we have today? Oh, actually, hold on. Let me pause. Today we're talking to the president of the VW Collective of Milwaukee, Mr. Mark
Cox. My name's Mark Cox, and I'm the president of VW Collective of Milwaukee.
Like
Welcome to the show, Mr. Cox.
Thank you.
And this was a great event.
Yeah.
I mean, you lucked out on the weather.
The turnout
is amazing.
How many cars?
Absolutely.
Did you get a tally?
I didn't get an official count, but I know that we're in the high 30s minimum.
So 50 cars?
As far as registered cars, I believe 38 at least, but there's definitely some here that aren't registered.
Okay, so we'll say like 100 cars.
At least 150.
Yes, 150. It was great. Like we had to park cars in the field because there was no room to park cars.
And Mark, where are we? What is this facility?
We are at Mindy and Breeze's barn, gathering place.
Yeah, so Breeze owns like what would
somewhere
you say?
around 18 or 20 acres of primo property that we can park cars on.
He's got a giant pole barn that Mark has graciously taken advantage of all winter with his vehicles.
Well insulated, heated, and available for Mark all winter long.
So Breeze and Mindy, Breeze is the vice president and Mindy is the social media and marketing for the club, and they are snowbirds, so they go down to Florida for the winter and then come up here for the summer. And they graciously allowed members of the club to utilize their barn when there's space to work on their vehicles.
I absolutely took it over while they were away. They were surprised when they came back to see the full extent.
Yeah, well, you're what do you call that? You're the custodian of the facility for the winter.
I'm a key holder. It's an important job.
Yeah.
I have some responsibilities. Keep out the riffraff. It's a thing.
Right. Stop bad things from happening.
Yeah, their cars are protected.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
The facility is secure.
Tell us about the club.
Well,
what's obviously the name of the club? The VW Collective of Milwaukee. I always mess that up.
VW Collective of Milwaukee. How do you screw that up?
Because I always want to say Milwaukee first, like Milwaukee Collective.
No, that's the other one.
Oh, that's the one he who we did not talk about. But, so where'd the name come from?
Well, it was just something thrown out there. It was a collective idea. The reason I liked it is because I like the name collective because it kind of symbolizes who we are. We're a group of people, obviously, but there's something contained there. We collect cars. That's also obvious if you ever came around any of our events, but we also want to be a collective of knowledge. We want to replace the gaping hole of service facilities willing to work on a vintage Volkswagen with our collective knowledge and experience. That's part of our goal. That's part of what we want to do.
Now, how long has the VW Collective of Milwaukee been in existence?
We're new. We actually just formed over the winter of 23.
What's very cool, I want to announce this because I am very thrilled about this. What's very cool about your club is you guys, I don't know if you finished it, you got it yet, but you guys are actually registering to be a 501c3.
We have filed, yes.
Nonprofit organization, which is unheard of because no other Volkswagen club in the Milwaukee area is a nonprofit organization, which is awesome.
And it's just part of who we are. We want to be organized. We want to be a force to reckon with. And more than that, you
want to be legit.
Right. We want to be legit, but we also want to be able to have that outreach in the community, to have open doors for people who want to learn Volkswagens, whether they have one yet or not. Maybe they just want one. Maybe they want to know what they're getting into. We're here. We have advice. We have experience.
Base. Be the knowledge base in the Milwaukee area. And you're a legit nonprofit organization, which is awesome in my eyes.
And years ago, in one of the Milwaukee Volkswagen clubs, we were more like that. We were more of a group of guys that worked on their cars. And so we actually had tools we could borrow. So you didn't have to own everything. I mean, there's no reason to own a carb sinking tool if you don't have dual carbs, or if you're only going to do it once.
Right, you're not doing it every day.
Right, so to have, and these tools have come down in price, but some of them are pricey. So as a group, we would pool our money together, and we'd have fundraiser or whatever, and we'd buy tools that we could loan to each other. The members could borrow from the club toolbox.
And see, that's awesome.
Sign off, sign out. And they, was crank gear pullers and torque wrenches that went up to 300 foot-pounds and all that cool stuff. It's hard to afford by yourself, but a club could buy this stuff, and then we borrow it out. And that's the way that worked for a while, and then that part of the club kind of fell apart, and those members disappeared, and
the special tools disappeared.
The tools disappeared, everything kind of, and then that's kind of how the Beer Panzers group came to be.
You formed out of necessity.
Right. The club we were in wasn't catering to what we were about. So we just said, well, let's just start our own. I mean, that's fine.
And that's the basis of the
right. That's really our beginning as well. We were many of us were a part of another club, and it just wasn't meeting our needs. We weren't as active as we wanted to be. We weren't spreading the word about Volkswagens.
Well, and if you're in a club and your voice isn't heard, it's kind of sad.
You don't feel like a member of the club.
Yeah,
you just feel like somebody showing up to a group.
And if the club isn't meeting your needs, well, then you start your own club, I guess.
Right, and that's why we're here, and we're trying to be that club. We're trying to meet needs. We're trying to listen. We're trying to be responsive of what is actually out there that we can help with.
And what's really cool, so you guys are largely based on Facebook. You have a Facebook page, the VW Collective of Milwaukee, so anybody can go on there and become a follower. And you guys list out your events that you're going to as a group for pretty much the whole summer. I remember being back in February, I was looking at your events page, and you pretty much have my whole summer listed out for me because you guys have events that you're going to every weekend pretty much.
Yes, there's something awesome. At least every week, oftentimes a few things a week. And obviously not everyone can do everything, but we want those opportunities to exist for when you can come out. That's what we're trying to do. We want to have that place and that space for people who love their cars, want to show them off, want to talk about them. We're all about that.
Yeah, and now just a week or two ago, you went to the one in the NEVA show in St. Charles as a group?
Yeah, several members went down there.
Mark Dinkle.
I wasn't there myself.
Well, that's fine. I mean,
not like you said.
President doesn't have to go to everything.
Yeah, you can't
I try to go to all of them, but yeah, that's.
But
once in
I'm
a while.
just saying that group.
Yeah, the group schedule. See, that's another thing too. Is they organize basically a caravan. So they'll go on there and they'll put into the discussion of the event, and they'll say we're meeting at such and such at this time, and then they'll all roll down there as a group,
and that's half the fun, honestly. Yeah. I mean, we create a parade and then show off the entire way. It's a lot of fun. We get so many looks, so many thumbs up, so many honks of the horns, and just people that are very enthusiastic to see us on the road.
Yeah, and you hope that going to these events that other clubs are putting on, that they'll return the favor and show up as a group to your events. And then it's easy to self-perpetuate this whole thing. You go to their show, you know.
Absolutely.
They come to this show.
We're a club, we're organized, but we will take you whether you have paid your dues or not. If you wanna come hang out with us, that's awesome. And if you have other friends doing other things, that's cool too. We're not gonna stop you from that.
I think he's talking directly to me because I go to all your events.
He's talking directly to me.
I haven't paid dues.
I came here and ate their food and won their raffle prizes. You won something too.
Hell yeah.
No.
We come here, win all our stuff, do a podcast, and leave.
All I mean is if you're in another club, don't feel like you can't be in ours as well. We're not starting any turf wars or anything like that. We just want everyone to once we get a little bigger maybe, but right now we just want people to come out, show their cars, have fun. We're not necessarily car show centric. We don't have the cleanest things on the road, but we have the things that are on the road.
Okay, let me back up real quick because we jumped over a very important thing. So, Mark, what was your first Volkswagen that you owned?
Oh man, we're not following the format.
We are way
whatsoever.
off format, but that's okay. That's what happens at a live show.
Should I tell the whole origin story of
your very first?
Of my combined very first Volkswagen with why I'm in this situation that I'm in now.
Tell us
you want to hear?
I want to hear.
Okay.
I want to hear. We got time.
We're going to edit all of it out.
I'm going to edit it out. I'll just cut it out.
Take every bit of it out except for the last line. It's real dramatic. Okay, so I can't remember when I wasn't into at least Volkswagen vans. I mean, even as a kid, it was like Volkswagen bus. Everyone thinks that's cool.
So how old were you then?
A child, I don't know, knee high to a grasshopper. What do they say?
Grade school.
Grade school. I mean, from grade school, I thought the VW bus was awesome. I always wanted to live in the van down by the river, all that stuff.
So did you see one going down the road, or did your uncle?
I don't remember. I didn't know anybody with one. No. I just always thought that they were really neat. And so then cut to.
So okay, you're in grade school. What year is this? Like last year?
Yeah, somewhere the year before. Yeah. Boy.
So you're because you're in your 40s, right?
Somewhere in the early 90s.
Okay, so 95. All right, we'll just throw out a number. Our listeners don't know exactly. We're not going to hold you to it.
Way back in the 1900s.
In the 1990s.
The 20th century, as they call it. I started. I guess that was my first memory of Volkswagen. But when I was more coming of age, more interested in cars, I was a subscriber to Hot Rod magazine, and I was all about that stuff. I could pick out anything on the road, and that was where all my passion was. But then, family friend. Someone that my aunt knew, and then my sister sort of had a friend relationship with.
See, I knew your uncle was involved here somewhere.
So this guy, affectionately known as Crazy Dan, I
remember the story.
He was a Volkswagen guy. He had a whole pasture full of them. Right in his sweet spot, which is also now my sweet spot, which is 80s and 90s Jettas, Golfs. Eventually, at some point, he was needing some help working on stuff. He was always working on something, and my older brother helped him a couple times, but he was too busy, and so one day he needed help, and I was the one that was around, and so I started helping him. And he was paying me handsomely to watch him do cool stuff with cars, learn things, learn Volkswagens, roam through his pasture of cars and look at stuff and pry off the VW signs off the grill that probably caused a lot of damage, but I got a cool VW sign that I put on a chain around my neck for a little while in high school.
Necklace, yep.
Beastie Boys style.
Exactly. Yes. So he would just pay me more than I deserved, certainly more than I was working off, to help him and really just to learn. So that's where it all began. But one day after doing that for a little while, he was just like, "I'm gonna get you a car," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." And like, I don't think it was 2 days later, he calls me up. He says, "Okay, I got your car." It was an '85 Jetta, and he said, "We need to do a little work putting it back together." I guess he had gotten it on a trade for fixing up another car of this guy's. He told me he was coming to pick me up so we could work on this thing. So he paid me to put the car back together, and once we were done, we hauled it off to my house.
That is freaking
We
cool.
put it we loaded up on the trailer. That didn't go so well. My directing was apparently subpar. He slipped off the trailer. He got mad at me, and then I felt bad and stupid. And then we haul it out to my folks' place across town. And he specifically wanted to park it in my sister's parking spot just to irritate her, and because she was still at work. And then as soon as we got it parked, he hustled off down the driveway because he was in a hurry to get his motorcycle, head back into town for something else. And I just, said like, "Thanks," down the driveway, just like, what do you even say? Yeah. I don't even know if he heard me.
You got a free car, or basically
but that was the last time that I saw him. He went and got his motorcycle, was heading back into town, got in an accident, he died.
Oh my
God. And that was it for Crazy Dan.
Wow. Thanks for turning this cool story into a sad story now.
Sorry
to all of our listeners out there.
There's probably a psychological basis. I haven't told my shrink this story yet, but there's probably something I can attribute there
on the podcast.
to why I have this Volkswagen problem. Can't seem to shake it. Have too many. Can't get rid of them. It's an ordeal, but I love it.
Things could be worse,
Yeah.
You could be a drug addict or
there's worse ways to spend money. Not much worse, but
But no, that's a moving story. I love it. Everybody has a reason they are into Volkswagens, and it could be, they saw one, they liked it, and that was that, right? Or their dad had one, and that's what he drove you to school in, and that's how you kind of got into them. But everybody has a story, and no two are the same. Exactly.
I was influenced by a guy who had way too many half-broken cars, and now I have way too many half-broken cars.
I'm going to hit you up with the next question that we ask everybody. How many Volkswagens have you owned in your lifetime?
Have I owned total?
Total.
Well, give me a sec, but I will say right now, I sold one last week, and I am sad. It's the first time I ever sold. It's the second time I sold a car. It's the first time that I didn't sell it to a coworker that I allowed them to make payments over time on. Anyways, I'm sad about it. I had too many cars. I wanted to get rid of it. I wasn't using it for like 5 whole years, but as soon as somebody came up to pick it up,
you have some separation anxiety going on.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's one of those guys.
It's hard.
How many do you own right now?
So right now,
right now, how many are you owning?
If I name them off, will you count them?
Sure.
Right now, I own a 1988 Jetta GLI. I own a 1991 Jetta GL diesel. I own a 2012 Jetta. I own a 1979 bus. I own a 1982 Vanagon Westphalia, and I think that's all my Volkswagens now.
So you own 5 right now. How many have you owned throughout your lifetime? If you just
it's not even that many more because I'd never get rid of them.
He said he sold 2.
You own 7.
Well, my dad sold one of them for me, and I think I've had 9. I think I've had 9.
Okay.
Not a whole lot, but I don't ever get rid of them.
What's the longest you've had a Volkswagen?
The longest I've had any
That's
one car.
That's a question we should ask everybody.
That is a good one. That because some people just burn through cars, and I just have too much sentimental value built up to do that.
What happened to the one in the story that the gentleman that passed away gave you? What happened to that one?
That's another story, and one I'm a little bit more ashamed of. So,
well, just give us a
so I was 15 when I got it, and didn't have my driver's license yet, and so I just had a lot of free time and nowhere to go, and it was sitting out in the driveway. And so one day I was like, this thing doesn't have a radio, but Crazy Dan gave me like 3 extra radios. I, with no knowledge or experience, obviously, but really no common sense, I decided to take one of the radios and just match up the closest matching colors wires to the wires in my car. And that went really well most of the way through until I got to the last one I hooked up. There was a big blue spark, and my car never started again. Ended up selling it to an uncle for $50. He probably ripped me off. I bet he flipped that thing, but I don't know. And I never saw it again. Couldn't get it running. Had some help, but
another sad story.
You are just full of the great stories.
Oh man, all my stories are sad.
This is horrible.
But at least you're the president of a really cool club. So let's focus on that awesomeness. Do you guys have any future plans with the club?
Let's back up to longest owned car.
Okay,
we didn't finish that.
Because
we talked about it being a good question and we didn't get there.
Yeah, I remember Pickler, Wes Pickler. Yeah. He said he's owned that Baja since the 90s.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
So that's 30 years, right? Yeah. So he's probably the winner.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, Mark, how long? He might have owned it longer.
No, I've owned my 79 bus since 2011. That's my longest standing.
Was that your high school car?
No.
No,
that was my early 20s car.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
My high school car was a 95 Jetta, and I had that for 7 years. And then after 7 years, I decided, this thing deserves a paint job, maybe even a VR6 swap, because it was just a 4-cylinder. So I bought the engine, I bought the transmission, and then I got T-boned, and then somebody stole the engine and transmission out of my yard while I was home during the middle of the day.
Scrap prices went up.
Yeah, it was Bayview. It was, the south side. Things go missing sometimes.
Yeah, crack ain't cheap.
All right, so back to the other question that I asked. So with the VW Collective of Milwaukee, the coolest club in Milwaukee, what is your future plans for the club? Where are you as the president guiding the club?
We have some big ideas here, and we're not afraid to admit that. It may seem a little far-fetched for a new club, but
world domination.
But world domination, that's actually number 2.
Pinky in the brain.
For sure. Our biggest long-term goal is to have a communal gathering place. somewhere where we can not only work on cars, work on projects.
Like a clubhouse type thing?
Yeah, like a clubhouse, somewhere we can work on things, get together for meetings, all of that. But also as a part of it, we want to open a museum of some kind. It may not be big, it may not be too crazy, but it may be a slow start, but we have a lot of cars. Some of them are pretty neat, unique even, and we want to show them off.
Tell everybody about your what would you call it? An impulse buy? Your cool cement cutting Volkswagen powered whatever.
Volkswagens aren't just cars. They did some they did some industrial stuff too. Well, I mean they still do, but more so back in the 60s. I bought a concrete saw it's a
Volkswagen powered concrete saw.
It's a Type 1 Beetle engine that powers a pump, hydraulic pump that runs a concrete saw, and it's
super common.
And it
Where
ran.
did you find this thing at?
On Marketplace. Where else? I bought it for the engine, and then when I saw it, I'm like, this is an awesome engine running stand, and I'll just take all the pump off and everything else. And then after talking about it with my vice president, and he's like, this is something that is actually really unique. They used to be prevalent, but unlike cars that have the sentimental value where even after it stops having all its full worth, you still hang on to it. With this kind of thing, once it stopped making money, it went to the scrapyard. It disappeared. You don't have it anymore. And so
there's people that collect Volkswagen powered oddities.
Yep.
I would say that Joe Mond is his name. He actually bought my I had a BMW motorcycle that was powered by a 1600 Volkswagen engine.
Very cool.
Willis conversion. That was the name of the company, Willis. He collects everything: airplanes, boats, Zambonis.
A lot of people don't know the Admirals until the Bradley Center went down. While it was still the Bradley Center, while they were still playing there, the Zambonis were run by air-cooled Volkswagen engines.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, they're just Type 1 motors. The industrial version of them.
For our listeners overseas, the Milwaukee Admirals are semi-pro.
Semi-pro, yeah.
Semi-pro hockey
AAA.
team. So the Zamboni at their facilities.
Yeah, and the smaller facilities still use those. I mean, they need zero maintenance other than oil changes and valve adjustments. You know, there's no antifreeze.
You run them for like 2 hours a day, or
yeah,
whatever.
right. They're perfect for a Zamboni. They never overheat. They never. They're light enough. They make enough horsepower.
But it's very much the same engine as what's in the car. It has a governor on it.
Yeah, it's got
it has a little different distributor.
Mm-hmm. They run a magneto sometimes.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, cool.
Very cool. Well, I'm looking forward. I'm a big supporter of what you guys are doing. I'm very proud of you guys for what you guys are doing.
I appreciate that.
I really hope.
Thank you for inviting us here
Yes.
to this event.
Yeah, thank you for allowing us to come here and put on a podcast. I know you hate talking in public.
Well, when it's Volkswagens, it comes easy.
Yeah, that's what this podcast. I couldn't talk about anything else but Volkswagens for the amount of time we talk. But Sean talked to me and he says, well, just come.
Just come.
I'm like, I wasn't really officially invited. I'm like, just come, we'll do a podcast, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay.
And you came and you won some shit.
Yeah, I wanted to support through the raffle. I'm like, I'll buy an arm's length of raffle tickets.
And you won an armful of car wash stuff.
And I won a car wash, and then I don't know how much money you spent on raffle tickets, but he won a TV.
Big spender here, won a TV. I probably
one
paid
ticket?
for the TV. Well, yeah,
You only need one ticket?
You only need one ticket.
You bought more than one ticket.
I bought I think I spent like $40 on tickets.
Okay, and he won a 55-inch TV.
55-inch TV. I won a Woody. I won 3 things today. I won a thing of brandy. And,
I wanted to win
alcohol.
that Woody thing. That thing was
that
pretty
Woody
cool.
thing I won, but one of the other guys was like, "Hey, I'll give you $50 for it." I'm like,
Done.
Here you go. And he handed me $50. So
I won several season passes to 7 Mile Fair, which I'm pretty excited to use one of.
One of go once.
Go once, spend some money, and call it a day.
Yeah, but it was an awesome event. If this is your first one, this is amazing.
It really is, and I have to thank my club. I mean, we're new, we're just getting started, but we don't look like we just began. We have some great talent, we have some great organization, we have some great people that are just willing to really put in the work.
Well, I'm looking forward to see how much is. I mean, the club's only been in existence for 7 months. This is pretty amazing.
And you guys come so far. It's awesome seeing the progress and where the club is going, and it's going to be great to see you guys in the future, and I am looking forward to going to this museum because it's going to be freaking cool.
Yeah. So I know Sean had mentioned that you're on Facebook. Do you have any other social media accounts, Instagram, YouTube?
Hold on. Let me pause it right there. I want to bring in the social media marketing to come and tell all her cool stuff about it. So here in the seat we switched out. We have
another guest.
Another special guest. Next guest here. We have the social media marketing for VW Collective of Milwaukee, Mindy Baumgartner.
Yes.
Baumgartner.
A very popular name in Wisconsin due to the cheese store in Monroe. I'm not related, but yes, Baumgartner.
Well, welcome to the show, Mindy Baumgartner.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I butcher everybody's name.
I know. He's the worst.
That's like Clint Schneider. Yeah.
Scheidigger.
Scheidigger. Are you sure it's Scheidigger? I think we're saying it wrong.
No, it's Scheidigger.
Are you sure? I thought there was an L in it.
In your head, there is.
Well, welcome to the show, Mindy. So,
welcome to the show, Mindy Scheidegger.
Mindy Scheidegger.
That's the only word. That's the only last name we know now.
That's the only one we know. So, we're gonna hit you with the hard questions first. What was your very first vehicle Volkswagen that you've owned?
Well, technically, my very first Volkswagen was when I was 15 years old. My dad purchased it in Long Beach, California, and surprised me when I was on a summer vacation. I used to go to my grandparents' house in Long Beach, stay for 2 weeks, and then come back home to Illinois. So my dad surprised me in the backyard, had my grandparents lead me back there to my very first Volkswagen. It was a 69. It was a red Beetle. And I listened to some Dr. Dre and Warren G in it, and that's the extent of my experience in that Volkswagen. As it was kind of a heartbreaking story. My dad drove it from California to Illinois for me. It's partly the reason I never learned to drive stick, because that was supposed to be my first car, drive stick.
So 69 Volkswagen Beetle stick shift.
Yeah, my parents ended up divorcing. We had to sell the vehicle.
What is with you people and your tragic stories? Mark got on here and told us about this.
This club is nothing but Debbie Downer.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the good news is the vehicle then got sold to a guy named Rick in Zion, Illinois, and he redid the Beetle. It came to Nostalgia Days several times, so I got to see
it. Like recently?
Well, it's now with the Blake family. So Deborah and Bill Blake of Beach Park own it. And it might be for sale currently, or it might not.
That would be a cool story to wrap that up.
But they did tell me that I could come down and ride in it whenever I wanted and take a spin around town. But it's one of those things where it's a little bit of a heartbreak, so I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that'd be tough to do.
Yeah.
Can you drive me around the car I should have?
I should have owned, but my dad stole from me and sold.
And now my Volkswagens are limited because I never learned to drive stick, and now I'm too old.
So next tough question we ask our guests are, how many Volkswagens have you owned in your lifetime?
In my lifetime, me personally, I think I'm up to maybe 7 or 8.
7 or 8. I see more than 7 or 8 out here right now.
Well, my partner has suddenly decided to hoard vehicles, and so combined we're up to 18.
Oh my God.
I only know about 16, so I'm awaiting the other 2 to make an appearance here.
2 mystery Volkswagens on their way.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot.
He's decided to start buying burned ones and destroyed ones, and the man who wanted no projects now has about 5 on deck.
I was going to say, because last year when we were talking, he was like, I don't want any more projects. I hate working on cars. Now he has a fleet of them.
No, that's all he buys.
And it's really hard because I think about all the little Volkswagens that we passed up while he was boycotting projects to now take on these dysfunctional projects that are very hard getting parts for. But
I'm super fussy. Like that bug I sent you. You should have bought that. That 68 bug in Brookfield for $500.
Yeah.
I talked to Mark. Mark had already contacted the person, and they weren't returning calls.
That thing was sold instantly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a $500 Beetle that was easily you could have flipped and sold for $2,000-3,000.
Yeah.
So I mean it's the tough ones to pass up. Even if I would have bought it, I had nowhere to park it.
I told you could park it by my house.
I know, but I have 2 other vehicles that I'm currently working on, and I need to focus my energy on that and not just have a car chilling in the woods over at your house.
Oh, why not? There's always cars chilling in the woods.
Yeah, I can park it next to Tommy's.
Yeah, there's always a car chilling in the woods.
So the big question, why we brought you on the show, what is your title for the VW Collective of Milwaukee, this awesome club.
Social media / marketing. But I can say that there's a lot of room for improvement on my end. I try, but this picnic turned out so good. I'm very grateful that people came from out of state, that drove far, that towed in.
There's a guy loading up right now.
Was great.
We're kind of on the tail end of this picnic. They already gave away the raffle prizes. And
I already won my TV.
Yeah, he won his TV. They did the awards. They had a picnic, and they actually had a car show awards. It's pretty cool. And very well organized. We're kind of at the tail end of it, so people are already, people that came from
out of state
are loading up their stuff that they didn't drive here because it's 100 degrees off.
Yeah, very cool. So tell us about the one question that we started to ask Mark, which is why we paused and brought you in, is because we were trying to, where are all the avenues that we can find the VW Collective of Milwaukee?
We are currently obviously on Facebook with a growing attendance of followers, so that's always good. That's going to be your main resource for events and also our club-specific specialty events. This year we chose to do a custard cruise where we go 2 Tuesdays a month to different Wisconsin custard establishments, and we're trying to gather new people from different areas. So we have as far south as Kenosha and Pleasant Prairie, all the way up to West Dallas, and then also to Wayne's Drive-In and Cedarburg. So we're picking up new people here and there and vehicles that we've never seen before. Last weekend we had at Georgie Porgy's in Mount Pleasant Racine, we had a guy came out. He never takes his vehicle out. He saw the post on Facebook and decided he was going to show up.
And he had a bug?
It was a fastback.
Oh, neat.
And he never takes it out. It's in storage. So it was like a gem.
Oh, really?
Like, never seen it on the circuit. 10 years, never seen it.
Wow.
So that was cool. But that's the whole point of trying to move our meetings around and move our specialty events around.
For our one listener in Australia and our other listener in Japan, this podcast is based in Wisconsin, which on a license plate say America's Dairyland. So it's a lot of dairy products, and we are America's Dairyland. There's nothing but cheese, curds at every gas station, and custard is huge here. Mm-hmm. Custard is kind of like ice cream, but not. It's made more out of cream. And there's a custard stand every 10 feet. So it's nothing for... And there's mom and pop establishments, and there's more regional ones like Culver's and things other people have heard of. But there's all the other ones, Lee's and Leon's, and and everybody's uncle had a custard stand. So VW Collective of Milwaukee has a little punch card, and we go to, they organize a ride to such and such a custard stand. They punch your little card. And then at the end of the year, once you get them all punched, there's some reward or something, right?
Oh, you got it. Uh-huh. It's secretive, but yes, definitely.
Is it another towel bag now?
Right?
Is it another TV?
Do I
have to win a TV?
You don't have to tell us what the award is, but I'm just saying there's some sort of award for the most. If you went to all the cruises or whatever.
Hold on. Is it secret because you haven't bought it yet and you don't know what the hell you're doing?
No. These were created and advanced by a craftsman down in Florida. And he said...
Is it custard?
No. But he...
you get a year-old custard.
He did some special projects for me, and he really got a kick out of it. And so he was kind of like, we were the guinea pig. I just brought him a bunch of stuff, and he saw what he could do with it. And
nice.
We'll see. We have 11 stops this year, so the last one, I believe, is towards the end of October. We tried to pick custard stands that had indoor seating for the colder months, so... and it's important to drive
some of these custard stands are just a window.
Yeah.
Like Lee's
definitely.
On Greenfield is just a window.
Well, Leon's was like that too. It's just
Leon's is just a window.
In the parking lot and you.
Yeah, like Leon's is based. If you ever seen Happy Days, the TV show Happy Days back in the ancient times.
Back in your days.
Yeah. Leon's is based off of Arnold's. Or Arnold's is based off of the Leon's on 27th in Oklahoma in Milwaukee. FYI.
What's even cooler is they were actually at the Iola show this past week.
Oh, yeah, all the Happy Days actors from, Fonzie and Potsy.
I forgot that was going on. I was planning on going out there on Friday, but...
Yeah, it was pretty cool because Milwaukee's home of the Bronze Fonz.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where Happy Days is based in Milwaukee. Along with Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, yeah.
Good old times.
Yeah.
Walk down memory lane for your Prescott there.
Oh, yeah.
But you can also find us on Instagram.
What's the name?
It's under VW Collective of, I believe, MKE for that one.
Because somebody stole the Milwaukee already.
And then also on TikTok. So I know not everyone's a fan of TikTok, but it does collect a lot of the Volchinos from around the area and the different Beetles. And a lot of mechanics are on there showing you how to do little tricks to keep your Beetle cool, to prevent fire, interior work. And it's a quick promo for the club.
What's your TikTok handle?
It's also under VW Collective of Milwaukee.
Okay, that one's Milwaukee spelled all the way out?
Yeah.
Okay, where Instagram is just VW Collective of MKE.
I believe so.
Okay.
You might have to double check that.
Double check that.
And nothing on YouTube as of now?
No, I don't have anything on YouTube, but it is a future goal of the collective as we start doing workshops to make it available for people, for our members, and to kind of create engagement because unfortunately in our area, just the repair shops are dying off. And unfortunately, so is some of the collectors of Volkswagens. So the more information we can collect for future generations, the more we can keep these vehicles on the road, which is one of our main goals at the collective.
And that's awesome. That's
the
one
collective. I like that.
That's one of the reasons why we started this podcast was because a lot of the people that we end up interviewing and talking to on here are older. And once they essentially die off, I mean, their stories go with them. So
they're as old as me.
Yeah. Once Prescott dies off, nobody's going to be able to fix transmissions in the Milwaukee area.
It's very hard, too, because I find that Volkswagen mechanics like to work on their own things. They don't want to work on other people's things, or they don't want to share the knowledge because they're used to doing it so quick and so efficiently that like we would hold them up asking too many questions.
Yeah, I can understand that because I don't work on cars anymore. I mean, used to. That's what bought my first house was fixing Volkswagens.
Yeah, you should see it every time I pull up one of my projects over to his house. He's like, what the fuck, why are you bringing that here? And then I'm like, dude, just help me start this. And he's like, 3 hours later, he's like, why'd you bring that piece of shit here?
It's after you do it for so long, I just want to work on my own stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't want to play with other people's toys. I want to play with my own toys.
Don't be stingy with that knowledge, Prescott.
I'm not. Somebody wrote a book.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. And that wasn't an overnight thing.
Who was that? I'm sorry. I forget. Mindy, who wrote a book?
It was this one dude, and it's at Barnes & Noble, I heard.
What's the name of that book? Is it How to Rebuild Your Volkswagen Engines, Air-Cooled Engine by Prescott Phillips?
And that I enjoyed writing that book because it gave me an excuse, like, just buy the book.
Yeah, now you can just tell people, I'm tired of helping. That's what he tells me all the time.
I'll
ask
Sean
him a question. He'll be like, you obviously didn't read the book. And I'm like, dude, I didn't memorize your book. And he's like, your reading comprehension sucks.
It's like, Prescott, put on your signature eyewear and strap on your overalls and just help me for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes turns into 2 hours, turns into 3 days.
It's all good. I say I don't like it, but I do enjoy it.
I say, because every time we get one of my projects up and running, you can kind of see a little glimmer in his eye, like, yeah, that was kind of cool. I didn't think that was going to work out, or that didn't happen.
This thing actually runs. Yeah. I'm amazed.
That was very cool of you coming out here and explaining to the VW Collective is. I know you were super nervous about talking. I don't know why, because you got a beautiful voice.
Yeah, yeah, and is she the first female?
Yes, she is our first female.
You have the honor of being the first female on Brew City Bug Talk.
And for that, you get a Volkswagen koozie.
Aw, thank you.
An official Brew City Bug Talk.
It will be
koozie.
as soon as I got to put a sticker on the back.
As soon as we put a sticker on the can koozie.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you for having us out at your picnic, and thank you for letting us promote you, and thank you for promoting us. It was really cool coming in here and seeing the list of sponsors up on the wall and seeing our logo up there.
Yeah, we appreciate that a lot. I hope you gave her a pile of stickers.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I want everybody to listen to our podcast and give us feedback. We want to make it better.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the podcast tonight. Man, we went way too long, but it was cool.
Sean's going to have a lot of editing to do, which is fine. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and have a good night.
Thank you. Peace out.
Thank you.